So how many people in here can just hear everything I say and it is in their head? They've got it. They're a audio learner. How many people really like to see it in front of them, might want to be able to really visualize what they're learning? Visual learners, we got some visual learners, great. How many people need to feel things or touch it or make something to really understand a concept? Those are tactile learners. We all have a particular preference. I have a daughter who is now a sophomore in college, and she would be mortified if she knew I was telling tales out of school. But when she was in second grade, she had a terrible time memorizing vocabulary. Terrible time. We would spend an hour on those 20 vocabulary words, and she would come back with a 70. And I would realize finally that it was because I was doing it all with auditory stimulation. I would say the word to her, ask her to say it back to me. I would spell the word, she would spell it back. It would stay for a while and evaporate. But if we did flashcards, or if we drew little pictures of the words, if she would write it out in a sentence, hundreds. But it took me an awful long time to figure that out. So when you are in your sessions with your students, most know the best way that they learn. So ask them that and observe them a little bit while you're in these sessions and find out what their strength is, what their best skill is. That handout in front of you shows you different ways to teach to those various learning styles. So you don't have to look it over a lot now, but I really recommend you take a glance at it before you get started because it's really helpful. The best session I ever did with Lewis was, I had just come back from a trip in the Southwest. And boy, I got myself a great piece of turquoise jewelry, and I thought, oh, I'm going to bring back a puzzle. I found a great puzzle of the Southwest. And I thought, okay, I'm going to get this. I will donate it to Lewis's class. Well, wouldn't you know it, the day I go in, Lewis's story is about the desert. Now, Lewis is from Memphis. Lewis has not been out of town, and he doesn't know anything from deserts. But I was able to say, okay, Lewis, well, this is really great because look at my puzzle. This is where the deserts are in the United States. And this is the kind of minerals that you can find in the mountains in the Southwest. And these are the plants that grow there, because it was one of those great puzzles that you probably all saw as a kid that had the vegetation and the minerals and all that. So I'm showing them the plant life, and then I pulled out my bracelet. Didn't wear the right one tonight, sorry, but we looked at the different turquoise stones. So you stones, and we were playing with the puzzle. And then look at the vocabulary. And of course the vocabulary is cactus and the little spines in the cactus and how that's prickly and desert. So we talked about all those vocabulary words. Then we read the story. And at the end of the story, Lewis liked to draw. So I said, okay, Lewis, let's draw the main idea of this story. So Lewis starts drawing the desert, and he draws the cactus, and we draw those little spines that stick out that hurt if you touch them, and we go, ouch, that's prickly. And Lewis was able to hold on to that information so much better because we had approached it visually and orally and tactily, and what you'll find is if you stimulate, the more pathways, the more sensory pathways that you stimulate a student when you're trying to give them new information, the better they are able to retain it. So once you learn their preferenced learning style, use that, but try to pull in as many pieces as possible. Now, I don't expect that you're going to be able to have a session quite like that all the time, but at least keep it in mind.